So if you saw my review of the Pergear 25mm f1.8, then you might actually have an idea of how this thing performs. For $79 US, this thing is worth having in your kit, and I'm going to tell you why. What's going on, guys? I hope you're all well. This thing right here is the delicious 50mm f1.8. It's a complete manual lens by Pergear. Now the optics of the 25mm lens of Pergear was smack bang on point. You can actually see that video in the link in the description below or just up here. But this is the 50mm, gives you a 75 full frame equivalent focal range. Great for portraits, great for wildlife, just sort of, you know, not close stuff. You can do street photography as well. It's really good, but it is a really good all-round lens. Some people call it the nifty 50, but on the APS-C, it is more like a 75mm full frame equivalent. Now this lens is a full metal construction and it has 6 elements in 4 groups with 10 diaphragm blades to give you some nice looking bokeh. It has a maximum aperture of f1.8 and a minimum aperture of f16, and it only weighs a total of 221 grams. Now this thing is smaller than the kit lens, the 16-50 kit lens. Man, that is compact, that's great. There is a major reason why I actually like this, and that's the focus ring. It is a really decent focus pull with what feels like almost 180 degrees. Now this obviously gives you that more ability to do accurate focus pull. Short focus pull obviously gives you less to work with, so it's also smooth as well. And as you can see here, this one is actually round, whereas this one here, the 25mm, has like little thumb imprints where it gives you a little bit more grip. I actually prefer just the regular round ones because if you do want to put a focus puller on there and you're doing some videography, that definitely does help. Now, I must say though, if you are using this for video, you do have quite a lot of focus breathing. Although, focus breathing isn't actually as bad as a lot of people think it is. Although I actually watched an interview on INDY MOGUL with the cinematographer of Jojo Rabbit, Mihai Malaimare. Now Mihai was talking about his full professional grade Hawk V-Lite 1.3 times anamorphic lenses on the ARRI, and that thing has focus breathing, and he said he actually likes it.
And sometimes when you react focus, you feel it, and like some people don't like that because it's too much, but I kind of like it even then. It has a certain like cinematic quality to it.
So in saying this, focus breathing actually isn't that bad, just like what a lot of YouTubers tend to make it a bad thing if a lens has focus breathing. So it's not necessarily a bad thing because it actually has been used in professional film sets. But anyway, let's throw up some images and videos of what this bad boy can do.
I waited for someone to save you. I wanna tell you something new. You drove us both into a wall. I drive away into the night and I contemplate for a while.
Now you can see the reason why you would actually get this lens. It's pretty much for its gorgeous bokeh quality. It's such an incredible clean sort of vintage style bokeh. You can really achieve some nice out of focus backgrounds with this 50mm lens. And as usual, you really need to get good at that manual focusing. But if you get used to it, take the time to master it, boom, this lens is incredible. So one other thing, I've got this Doobie Moaki here. This is the lens hood that comes with it. It's a pretty odd design. It's got a little bit of light gaps there, but what you can actually do, it does have a filter thread on the front as well. So it tends to screw on the filter thread on this, which is a 43mm. This is a 52mm. Now I've got a whole bunch of step up rings right here. 67mm Polarized Nd Filter. This is the Sandmark Nd Filter. The great thing about Polarized Nd Filters is you can expose for your actor and also it'll give you really nice sort of fall off from the sky. So you can really get a lot of detail in the sky as well as the actor or the subject, whatever it is. So polarized filters are really good for that. Otherwise, chuck your ND filter on there as well. But yeah, it's still a decent setup. You get no vignetting with that. So that is the lens hood. It's a pretty awkward design, really random. Anyway. So now, as you can see by this video, you can see a whole bunch of ghosting here. So ghosting is that sort of white highlights there from the sun. It sort of washes out the image. It's not exactly performing very good. And here you can see there's a lot of purple fringing around the highlights here, around that gun. But as per usual, let's throw this into the photo chart and see how sharp this thing is, and also check out some of the distortion. So we throw this onto the 24 megapixel Sony a6400, and you can see in the center the sharpness is really good with great contrast, going out to the corners, and it's a little bit soft. Stopping it down to f2.8 in the center, it's really sharp now, and out to the corners, it's a little bit better, but it is still soft. Stopping it down to f4, and you can see the contrast is still there. It's very sharp, and it's actually a lot sharper in the corners. Stopping it down to f8, and it's lost a lot of contrast in the center, and out to the sides, it seems to be quite sharp. And stopping it down to f16, this is what a lot of these lenses tend to do. A little bit of diffraction, less contrast, and it's really sharp in the corners. That's what it seems to be like with the Pergear 25mm as well. You can see there, it's a big difference between the corner and the center, but overall, really good performance from this lens. So the Pergear 50mm 1.8 lens is a damn good lens, and you can't ask for anything better for the price. It does show a little bit of softness in the corners, but the center sharpness is brilliant throughout the full aperture range. Now, I would highly recommend this lens if you're after a super duper cheap portrait budget lens. Boom, this thing is the go. The link will be in the description below if you do want to check this out. This is for APS-C cameras, so I think it's on the Sony mount and the Fuji mount, and it's also on the Micro Four Thirds mount as well. Obviously, Micro Four Thirds would give you like 100mm equivalent, which would actually be fantastic for a portrait lens. Oh, have you guys checked out my short film, Septic? Check it out. I dropped it last week. Please support it. I filmed it in 24 hours. Actually filmed it in 12 hours and edited it, because I started at midday and I finished at about midnight in terms of shooting and editing. So I'm actually really happy with the way it turned out. I scripted the whole thing, planned it out, storyboarded everything, and it turned out amazing. It's literally just me and my wife. We made it, so check it out. I'd really, really, really like you to support it. Comment, all that kind of good stuff. There are a whole bunch of other series coming. I've done a whole bunch of writing, still got to do some storyboarding, shot listing and stuff with those ones, but it's coming and I'm really excited. It's such a fun project to do. Anyway, guys, I'll see you guys in the next one. Evacuation at Echo Charlie Tango 296 at 1700 hours, over and out.